Oh my goodness, what a game. I can't believe what I just saw. This has to be top 3, maybe the craziest game I've seen as a Penguins fan. And this is only game 1. We still have a whole series to go. But before I even talk about the game, winning a game in overtime in the playoffs is the best feeling in the world, especially when it's a third overtime game. I knew they needed to win this one, right? It was no secret. It would have been such a huge win, and it was a huge win. And we'll talk about that right now. Let's unpack this whole thing. Let's just start all the way in the first period. At this point, feels like 10 hours ago for me. But I have to say, the Rangers completely dominated that period, but it was that bad. The Rangers really were out skating the Penguins, out hitting the Penguins. Every aspect of the game, the Rangers were doing better than the Penguins. The Penguins just could not get anything going. Even when they tried to slow things down in their own zone, someone was coming with those hard hits. Ryan Reeves, somebody was there, always just on them, hitting them, pressuring them. And when they weren't hitting them, they were getting good scoring chances. Casey DeSmith made some great saves in that first period, but it was later in the first, right? Penguins are getting dominated in every aspect of the game, but really getting physically dominated. Rickard Rakell is coming into the zone and gets absolutely leveled. And then like 10 seconds later, not even, it's Gensel who gets cross-checked into the boards. So at one point there, it looked like Rakell was down. It looked like Gensel was down. And I'm like, oh boy, we're really going to lose like this. Forget getting dominated. We're going to lose half our roster before the second period even starts. But thankfully, Gensel was okay, as we saw later on in the game. But Rickard Rakell was not. There was only a 2-minute penalty on that. In my opinion, it should have stayed as a 5-minute because I believe they had called it a 5-minute game misconduct. That should have stayed as a game misconduct. It was a dirty play, and just like that, Rickard Rakell is out, and he's most likely going to be out for the series. It looks like it's a concussion, and that sucks so much. Usually the home team in a game 1 is the one dominating, or you have all that energy, the fans are cheering, everyone's excited. But thankfully the Penguins survived, only down 1-0. You're still in the game, but then the second period starts, and it was the same thing. Just beating down the Penguins, and just 2 minutes into the second period, Andrew Kopp gives them a 2-0 lead. That first 25 minutes or so of the whole game was not on DeSmith. Because of DeSmith, it wasn't 4-5-0 already. After the Rangers made it 2-0, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was ready to pack it. I thought this game was over. I thought this is the type of series we're going to be in. I was like, are we even going to get a win in this series? From what I saw in that first 25 minutes, it was absolute domination. And not even the next shift, Crosby, Gensel, Rust are added. They get a 2-on-1. Shesterkin robs, I believe it was Gensel, and I was like, right there, they needed that goal. This guy Shesterkin, they're not going to score on him. Even when they do get that 1 or 2 scoring chances, he's going to be there to stop it. But not even 20 seconds later, that same sequence, after that great save from Shesterkin, Crosby has it, gets it to Gensel in front of the net, just gets enough elevation on it to get it past Shesterkin, and just like that, we can breathe. The Penguins are still in this thing. That moment might have been the turning point of the whole game because since that Gensel goal, the Penguins dominated. It did not look like the first period at all. And just like that, the Penguins started looking like their January selves, which was a very good team. But it all started with that Gensel, Crosby, Rust line, and they actually get the next goal to tie this game at 2-2. Crosby and Gensel, again, on a 2v2 type of scenario, but what a play by them. The way they just kind of crossed over, Gensel went in front, and Crosby just found him with that backhand pass, and Gensel's an elite player. He's not going to do no mistake. Finds the bit of room that Shesterkin was giving him and snipes it for his second goal of the game. And I love that Gensel's on the board. I love that the first line is producing because the last 3 first-round exits have all been due to the first line really not showing up. They've been playing well here and there, but production was not there. So now the Penguins are dominating a big part of that second period. They get a power play at the end of it, and to me, this was the biggest point of the game because you can go up 3-2 heading into the third would have been huge. Instead, we get a sloppy power play, which we've seen many times this season, and it's Chris Kreider going the other way, scoring a shorthanded goal. Could have been the turning point to the whole game, but instead, this is the turning point of the game. The Penguins get a 5-on-3, a very rare playoff 5-on-3, so you have to take advantage. Mike Sullivan calls the timeout, rightfully so, perfect use of the timeout. And then just a few seconds later, it's Chris Letang to Gino to Rust. You get a 3-3 game, huge goal for the Penguins, absolutely huge. So now it's the third period. Both teams are exchanging chances. Both teams get good looks. Both goalies make good saves. With 3 minutes left in regulation, we're basically in overtime right now. Rangers crash the net. Dumoulin gets involved in there. DeSmith is completely out of the play. The puck comes back to the slot. The Rangers get the open net and score. And now it looks like the Penguins played such a good final 40 minutes of that game to lose like this, and it was such a Penguins thing to do. Because like I mentioned earlier, right, it's been all disappointment for the last 4 years, and we sound spoiled saying that because we got to witness back-to-back cups, but it doesn't change the fact that we've seen a lot of disappointment in these last couple of years. And my initial reaction is you can't count that, right, because you see DeSmith out of the net, you see a Ranger on him, Like, there's no way. But it didn't seem like the ref waved it off. And obviously he's going to challenge it, even if it wasn't goalie interference. You know, the game's basically over. You know, you're just going to throw it up there and hope the hockey gods got you. I'm not going to lie. I thought the game was over because they showed the replay. Dumoulin, I feel like, had more contact to DeSmith to get him out of the crease. You know, it could go both ways, especially with a Ranger right in there. You could make the argument that Dumoulin knocked him in there. Dumoulin is the reason why he lost his balance, and Dumoulin joined him in that little pile to move DeSmith out of the net. All of those things are arguable, but thankfully Mike Sullivan challenges. And when they came on center ice and the ref said no goal, I completely lost my shit. I didn't believe it. I'm like, there's no way we actually have a chance to do something here, maybe win the game. So I'm sitting here like, you dodged a huge bullet, man. Now you have to win this game. The Penguins get some good looks at the end of the regulation with about a minute left. Off the draw, Kapanen takes a quick shot. Shesterkin robs him. And then at the very end, Crosby's right next to it. He has a bit of an opening, doesn't have enough room. I believe that Crosby play was with like 20 seconds left. When I saw that, I thought it was about to go in. I was so excited. I was right. Please, you know, I'll do anything to avoid the overtime. But I wasn't lucky. We had to go to overtime. And the worst thing in the world is that intermission heading into the overtime. And we had to do it 3 times tonight. Oh my God. Each 17 minutes felt like 3 hours. Every single prayer you can give to the hockey gods, you're there giving it to them. You're saying, I'll do whatever it takes, please. You know, I'll suffer for the next 10 years if I have to. Just give us this goal, please. And tonight reminded me how much I hate overtime hockey when your team is in it, of course. It's like you're watching, holding your breath, kind of shaking a bit. And you're just, please get it out, please get it out, please get it out. You get it out, you're like, okay, breathe a little bit. Okay, we're back in it. It felt like the beginning of the overtime, Rangers were kind of controlling more of it. So I was kind of expecting that goal to be early. And then shortly after, the Penguins had a little moment of controlling in that overtime. Kapanen had a few good looks. I actually liked what I saw from Kapanen. And now with Raquel, who's most likely going to be out for the series. I mean, guy looked like he got a concussion. Kapanen is going to have a big responsibility to fill on that second line. And I thought Kapanen played one of his better games. I actually liked what I saw from that second line with Hein in there too. Because at one point in the overtime, they just started rolling all the 4 lines. Both teams did. Because, you know, at one point, somebody's got to score. You can't just keep killing your top guys. So every time we did the cycle, right, you see the second line, you see the third line. By the time I saw Boyle out there, I'm like, okay, Boyle, I like you. You're cool. But please get Gensel, Crosby, Russ back on the ice. I want to see them. And then I'd see them on the ice. I'm like, okay, please, it's got to be here. It's got to be here. That was basically the whole 2 hours of that entire overtime. That cycle, and then the Rangers will get the puck. You're in the zone. Oh my God, please, please. And there was so many times I thought the game was over. A golden opportunity in that first overtime. Ryan Strome, I believe, had an open net one-timer, fans on it. Really, there was maybe at least 5 plays in the entire overtime where I felt like the Rangers had a clear goal right there. And then I'm like, oh my God, it didn't go in. Let's go. Okay, breathe now, breathe. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then it goes to double overtime. You're like, you gotta be kidding me with this. I can't do this anymore. My heart pounding, shaking, everything is just, you know, so much stress. And now I hear the words double overtime. I'm thinking last year, Tristan Jarry. So now I'm getting this PTSD of like, oh my God, please, we gotta get redemption now. Erase that memory for good, please. Double overtime starts. The Rangers kind of got a few good looks. But DeSmith, again, I got to give a big shout out to DeSmith because he played such a good game. But that leads me right into the next thing here. Casey DeSmith randomly leaves the game. I'm like, there's no way. Someone's joking here. This is a prank. It started with DeSmith stopping the play. The announcers were talking about maybe an equipment issue. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Maybe a skate, helmet. You don't want to, it's dangerous goaltending. Louis Domingue is on the ice and you're like, there's no way. There's no absolute way that this is happening right now. But I mean, shout out to DeSmith though, because 48 saves in your first career playoff game, he couldn't have done anything better than that. He absolutely delivered in his first game. Now in comes your third stringer, Louis Domingue, who was sitting on the bench for, 4 or 5 hours. I was even saying, if you're the Rangers, just shoot from anywhere, right? The guy's cold. He's been sitting down. One is going to beat him. And they actually did do that at the beginning. They were just taking those point shots. But if anything, that also can hurt you because it helped Domingue get into the game better. You know, got a feel for the puck, made a couple good easy saves. But as I'm making this video right now, it just came out. Mike Sullivan says he's day-to-day is Casey DeSmith. So there's an update there. So there's a good chance we might get Louis Domingue in game 2. What a crazy playoff series so far, man. But anyways, both teams continue getting good looks. Both goalies continue making some good saves. First of all, Igor Shesterkin, what on earth, man? Like, the fact that we got 3 goals on him, I was like, that's pretty good. But then you realize the guy made like 80 saves. Like, what on earth is that? We go into the third overtime. I can't remember the last time this has happened. And I was convinced Igor Shesterkin is not allowing the next goal. He's just making save after save. At one point, he's out of the net. Crosby gets that open net. I forget who it was. Doesn't go in. And you go the other way. And Louis Domingue had to make some really nice saves, man. He just fought so hard tonight because he wasn't ready for that. He didn't expect to go in, and he was ready. He made all 17 saves, which was crazy. And he really did have to make some tough saves too. But anyways, we go 5 minutes into this third overtime. You're just hoping anybody scores at this point. Hopefully a Penguin though. Kasperi Kapanen skating into the zone, finds John Marino. And I mentioned this in my last video. For those who watched, let me know in the comments right now if you remember me saying this. Those point shots that could get redirected or screened or rebounds. It's Evgeny Malkin who tips it in, wins the game for the Penguins. When I saw the puck go in and the Penguins celebrating, oh, just the feeling is so good. Like, thank you, hockey gods, for giving me this feeling. I don't even care if we lose the series at this point. At least I got this feeling right here. It's so fun. Now life is good until game 2, then it can all change. What a huge win this was for the Penguins. First of all, I love to see these top guys get on the board. Gino with the game winner, Crosby with 2 assists, Gensel with 2 goals, Rust with the goal. But to me, the Penguins needed to win this game. I think if they lost this game in the third overtime, they would have been just so deflated. Almost similar to last year's Game 5 versus the Islanders. They would have just been so deflated. You take 80 shots on a guy and you still lose. They're an older team, so they would have had to play all that hockey and still be down 1-0 in the series. I mean, it wouldn't have been over, but it would have been tough. But instead, this could be a turning point right here. Now the team has life. You're up 1-0. You did your job already, and Game 2 is still to be played. Right? You split on the road, and you still have a chance to maybe go up 2-0. It's not impossible. They're able to steal game 1 and find themselves up 1-0 in the series, and now are controlling the series, right? They control their own destiny. I think I mentioned everything. I mean, honestly, I could have forgotten a couple things. The game was like 5 hours long, but thank you guys for watching. I would love to hear what you think about this game. So much you can comment on. So many things happened. We basically got 2 games in one, but thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the end of game 2.